This year on Great British Menu.
It's hot in here. Pressure in the kitchen is ridiculous.
No! The country's best chefs are competing to showcase contemporary British cooking.
You look like you're praying.
I am.
In the year the nation marked the Queen's 90th birthday, the chefs are celebrating the everyday Great Britons she's honoured for their extraordinary achievements.
It's the most amazing thing you could ever receive.
The prize to cook at the ultimate banquet held at the country's most iconic building, the Palace of Westminster. Here they must demonstrate the coming of age of British cuisine.
Going for gold all the way, mate.
Do you think you're on track that all of a sudden something's missing?
Your hands are right there, Russell. We've got a bit of a shake on.
That was a stunning dish.
Our chefs have travelled the nation, meeting everyday Great Britons commended for their achievements.
It's your turn next.
I'm trying to keep up with the speed.
Since the coronation more than 60 years ago, countless outstanding individuals have been recognised on the Queen's Honours List.
This is the Queen's Gallantry Medal. That makes it super special.
This is the MBE,
Wow.
which Prince Charles gave me. Yeah.
What an honour.
It was an honour.
Inspired by these Great Britons, the chefs must highlight the transformation of British cuisine during the Queen's reign.
Looks fantastic.
To produce a lasting legacy to this new Elizabethan era.
Each taste is just, it's just delicious. Just want to eat more and more.
This week, competing to become North East champion are three ambitious chefs. Returning contender Mini Patel, who has his sights set on the judging chamber.
Bitterly disappointed about last year, going out on Thursday. This year, I've got 4 amazing dishes. I'm going to knock it out of the park.
Making his competition debut, Tommy Banks, whose food philosophy lies close to home.
I grow my own food, I forage my own food, I preserve food. So I think my ethos could take me all the way on Great British Menu.
And finally, fellow newcomer Chris Archer, who hopes his competitive nature will push him through.
I've worked for some of the best chefs in the country, but I'm not a copycat. I'm my own man, and I've come here to win.
Judging this week, a chef who's acclimatised to the heat in the Great British Menu kitchen.
How did it feel last year being judged by the veteran?
It was scary. I was really nervous. I do feel for you both. I'm saying this now, but as soon as the judge walks through, I'll still be doing my hello.
Former banquet champion and the youngest British chef ever to earn 2 Michelin stars. Tom Aikens.
Hello, chefs. How are we feeling?
A whole lot different to 5 seconds ago.
Who are you expecting? The boogie monster?
Yeah, quite possibly.
So, Minnie, been here before? Nervous?
I wasn't. I am now.
Tommy, you got a Michelin star at the age of 25. I got 2 at the age of 26. So, new up to the competition?
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm really excited. I just want to get in the kitchen now and get cooking.
Chris?
I'm very confident in my dishes. I've not come here to go home on Thursday, that's for sure.
So, guys, I know exactly how you're feeling. I've been here before. Good luck. Cook your hearts out. Above all, smile and enjoy.
Thank you, chef. Yeah. That is an intimidating character, so we're really going to have to be on top of our game to get good scores. I don't think we'll be getting any freebies.
First up to face the veteran is returning chef Mini Patel.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
OK, so explain your dish and sort of inspirations behind it.
The name of the dish is Charity Begins at Home.
OK.
My inspiration really is about the Queen and all the charity work that she does.
OK.
She's a patron of over 600 charities. The dish is based around a food bank and a food kitchen. They nearly always start the meal with a soup.
OK, interesting.
The base of the soup is going to be guinea fowl.
So is it a broth? Is it a
Yeah, it's a
consommé,
broth.
or-
It's a broth. I've got leeks,
Yeah.
fennel, some celeriac that's going to be going into the broth, but also the celeriac I will be making a puree with it as well. We're going to be setting some of the broth into a sphere, basically,
Right.
which is going to have a little bit of the leg meat and the vegetables inside. And then you're going to be pouring hot broth onto the cold, and that's when it releases the little bits-
magic.
yeah. And then there's a take on the bread element, which is going to be a toasty.
Okay, interesting. I actually did a consommé for my starter on the banquet, and I got a 9.
Right.
I don't want to put any more pressure on you.
No, I'll get a 9. Easy.
Good, that's the spirit. The only question I have about the execution of the dish is the celeriac puree. Because we've got a beautiful, clean-tasting broth, you don't really want to add anything else to it that's going to dilute the flavour.
Next up is competition newcomer Tommy Banks.
Good, Tom.
Right, Tommy. First off, give me the title and the inspiration behind it.
Okay, so the title of the dish is Earth Drum Kilbo 2016. Okay. Earth Drum Kilbo is a dish that's been eaten at a lot of royal banquets.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be the Queen Mother's favourite dish.
Well, let's hope it's my favourite dish then, shall we?
I hope so. The dish originally is kind of like a prawn cocktail with slow-cooked eggs on, so I've just kind of put my twist on it. So I've got these lovely duck eggs here. I'm going to slow cook them in the water bath for an hour.
Okay.
The langoustines, I'm just going to use the tail, and that's going to be pan-fried.
Lovely.
I've got some nice radishes here. I'm just going to shave them really thinly and pickle them.
I understand that you actually grow a lot of your produce.
Yeah, so it's kohlrabi that we grew at work. I think they're great. They're really sweet flavour.
Interesting. I've never been a fan, but...
Really not?
No. Maybe you'll change my mind.
I hope so.
Minnie, what do you think?
It's got a very interesting box of ingredients.
Nervous?
I think we're doing 2 very different dishes. Mine's definitely banquet worthy. I've not seen it, so I'm not going to say...
It's very competitive there already.
Yeah, but
I like it.
It's a good dish.
I'll let the cooking do the talking.
Tommy's dish, a lot of interesting components, but they all need really delicate cooking. The langoustine, the duck egg, even the kohlrabi. If it's overcooked, it's going to be horrible.
Last up is another keen contender, Chris Archer.
Morning, Chef.
How are you, Chris?
Nervous, but ready to go.
So, tell me the title and the inspiration behind your dish.
So the dish is called Gold. It's to pay honour and tribute to great British athletes and sports people, and more specifically cyclists, because I'm a keen cyclist myself.
So, what are the ingredients?
Right, so all the elements are around the gold theme.
Yeah.
So we've got gold and beetroot. I'm going to make a consommé using a new technique that I discovered where you clarify it with agar, not with egg whites. The consommé is going to be served separately in a tureen, which is inside a velodrome.
Wow.
I've got some hen's eggs, which I'm going to slow cook.
Okay.
And take the white off and just use the yolk itself. Curry powder.
Curry powder?
It's for the sweetbreads, which I'm going to batter and deep fry. Then we've got some girolles. We're going to deglaze with maple syrup.
Okay. Chris's dish has got to get the flavour of the beetroot consommé spot on because it's a subtle flavour, yet he's marrying that with some strong flavours from the curry powder. It may be brave and foolish, but if he gets it right, it could be a winner.
As the chefs start cooking, Minnie's experience in the competition is the focus of the conversation.
You must be clear favourite here, Minnie, with the past experience.
Are you having a giraffe? I don't feel like a clear favourite.
After failing to make the judging chamber last time, Minnie is pushing himself this year with a technically challenging starter in the kitchen.
Yeah, I want my broth to be clear. The celeriac puree, it's got to be the right consistency.
Minnie starts by preparing the rarebit filling for his toasty, blending Cheviot and Riva cheeses with cream, mustard, Worcestershire sauce, a northeast brown ale and truffle.
Tom Aikens is famous for his really precise cooking, his technique, so that's what he's going to be judging us on, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think, as far as veteran judges go, it's going to be one of the hardest ones to please.
I think he'll definitely get the best out of all 3 of us.
Having left early last year, Minnie Patel is determined to stay in the competition.
Disappointed last year. A few low scores, 6s and 5s, but I need 10s, and only they will do.
Currently the head chef at the Pointer restaurant in Brill, Buckinghamshire, Leeds-born Minnie is adamant he'll be the chef to come out on top for the North East.
I'm carrying more determination this year. More concentration, more focus. Not getting through for the North East is not an option. Not this year.
Minnie's menu this year celebrates Great Britons who've been honoured in different walks of life. For his starter, he was inspired by charity workers after spending time at a soup kitchen.
We've got soup, we've got pasta, tea, coffee, and it looks like it's going to be a busy night.
Does anyone want some more soup?
How often do you do this?
We do it every day. It's every evening.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do you want some milk in your tea?
Yeah.
That's all right, see you later.
This is exactly what makes Britain great, is people giving up their spare time to feed these vulnerable homeless people.
Back in the kitchen, Minnie starts his guinea fowl spheres. He adds thigh meat to blanched vegetables and pours over a reduced broth to set.
The spheres?
Yeah.
Although they'll be served chilled, the last-minute addition of a hot consommé will melt the spheres to make the final broth.
The ones that I did the first time round were 3 times as big. It just didn't melt. You know what I mean?
Across the kitchen, Tommy's starting his take on the traditional Earth's drumkilbo, an egg dish named after Drumkilbo House, a grand historic home in Scotland where the first recipe was created. He starts by slow cooking his duck eggs in a water bath and separately pickles finely sliced radishes and blanched mustard seeds. Next, Tommy prepares his homegrown kohlrabi, a member of the cabbage family. It's not a favourite of Tom's.
So Tommy, veteran judge, takes a bit of a dislike to the kohlrabi. How do you feel about that?
I like kohlrabi, but yeah, maybe I'm on the back foot already. I really believe in my ingredients. I grew this one myself, so I really hope he likes it. I'm going to be gutted if he doesn't.
26-year-old self-taught chef Tommy Banks runs the Michelin-starred Black Swan in Oldstead, North Yorkshire.
Toast, please.
Having grown up on the farm his parents still run next door, Tommy's entire food philosophy comes from the land.
Purple sprouting broccoli's here, there's cabbages, runner beans. The focus is almost as much on the growing side of things as it is on the actual cooking. I think I hold as much value by a perfect carrot that we grow, and that, for me, has just as much value as a fillet of beef.
Each dish in Tommy's menu stays true to his belief in homegrown British produce. And his family couldn't be prouder.
Tommy wasn't interested in food. We couldn't get him to eat his sausages even when he was young. But now, he's the most passionate chef. He hasn't been classically trained, but he has got a feel for food. And people who come just look and see what he's doing and they think, wow.
Back in the kitchen, Tommy's making a vinaigrette by emulsifying rapeseed oil with mustard and chicken stock.
Happy with that. Happy with that.
Next, it's on to another delicate process, finishing his duck eggs.
How are we doing, Tommy?
Yeah, all right.
Duck eggs?
Yeah, so I've water bathed them for an hour now. So now I'm going to smoke them using some oak wood chips.
OK. There's obviously, a little bit of worries with smoking.
Oh, totally. I mean, if it's not there at all, and I've told you I've given you a smoked egg, it's not going to be very good, or obviously over-smoking as well.
So I'll be watching that.
Good.
Someone else using eggs in their starter is Chris. Unlike Tommy, he's using hen's eggs and will only be serving the yolk.
There's a lot of gold on your dish, Chris.
It is all about the gold theme.
How did you come up with a number of elements on your dish then? Did you run out of gold things, or...?
There was an element of running out of... How many more ingredients are actually gold?
Chris begins his consommé by cooking down golden beetroot with golden beetroot juice, white port, stock and carrots.
The consommé is not going to be gold, but it's going to have a level where it's not yellow. It's
So could it be silver or bronze?
going for gold all the way, mate.
Gold
all the way.
27-year-old Yorkshireman Chris Archer has worked with some of the best chefs in the industry, but he believes his modern European style sets him apart from the rest.
I'm a classically trained chef, but with the way that the food world's moving now, there's inspirations from all over the world. If I'm a protege of anything, I'm a protege of the food industry as a whole. I'm my own chef with my own ideas.
Chris is currently head chef at the acclaimed Cottage in the Wood restaurant in Keswick and believes the camaraderie amongst his young team is key to its success.
Myself and my 3 chefs get on really well. We spend 14 hours a day in the kitchen, but we go cycling together, which really helps with team building.
Chris is using the great British spirit of striving for excellence as inspiration for his menu.
I've done my dishes to the best of my ability, and I believe every single one of them's a 10. So if anybody sees me as anything other than a genuine contender, then they're going to be in for a massive shock.
Back in the kitchen, Chris coats blanched sweetbreads in flour and a mild curry powder and will fry these just before plating up. But by far the most risky element of his dish is his beetroot consommé, which must be crystal clear.
This is a really, really new technique to me.
You have practiced this, haven't you?
Yeah, once.
Chris passes the consommé through a fine cloth before braving an ultra-modern clarification technique.
How are you doing, Chris?
I'm just about to clarify my consommé with a not particularly well-tried and tested method. What I've got is the agar, which you hydrate and then boil and then add to the rest of your liquor. It'll set it like a curd if it works. The agar holds what you don't want and the juice comes out clear.
Okay.
And it needs to, because it won't be golden without it.
Minnie, what do you think of this modern technique of clarifying?
Well, hopefully it'll make it clear, which is what he's after.
Same, mate.
I hope so too.
Thank you, Chef.
Minnie is also working on his broth by cooking guinea fowl with chicken stock, white port, white wine, and an assortment of vegetables.
Well, you're doing a consommé, you're doing a broth. So what's the difference between them?
The clarity of the flavour is what I'm trying to get.
So you're wanting that to be crystal clear?
Yeah.
So you want a consommé?
Yeah. I want a clear broth. I want a clear broth.
Unlike Chris, Minnie's using the traditional method of clarification by using a raft made of egg shells, egg whites and vegetables to achieve the required clarity.
Is that the broth consommé?
Yeah, it's broth.
It's clear. Is it what you wanted?
Yeah, absolutely. The taste is, it's got a real depth to it. It's got a real nice shine, gloss, clear.
As you know, I did a consommé for my banquet dish, and it was a winner. So I'll leave the rest for you.
The final component of Minnie's starter is his celeriac puree, which he makes by cooking down celeriac with thyme, chicken stock, lemon and cream before blending.
So this is a practice to see how the foam holds, is it?
Yeah. I might look like a lemon if I don't get it right. Celeriac puree needs to be a very, very precise consistency in order for it to drape over the sphere, but not drape and just actually run off.
It's crunch time now for Tommy, though, as he's first to plate up his starter. He finishes off his kohlrabi in a pan with butter and chicken stock and pan fries the langoustine tails.
Happy with the way it's gone?
Yeah, so far. There's time yet, though, eh?
Into ceramic egg-shaped dishes, Tommy first adds the kohlrabi. Next, the smoked duck egg and a layer of lightly pickled radish slices.
I just want to get his first one up on time. Important.
Tommy then adds the langoustine and pickled mustard seeds. To finish, he dresses with the rapeseed vinaigrette and garnishes with fresh leaves. As a final flourish, Tommy adds oak wood smoke. And it's ready to serve.
So this is the Earth Drum Kilbo 2016. It's an old royal dish, dating back to the 50s, so hopefully I've given it a modern spin.
Guys, first impressions?
Loads of colour, vibrancy.
Should we go and try it?
Please, chef.
Smokiness of the egg?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it has to be there. It's important that it has the smoke flavour throughout the dish, and I think it's worked well.
With the smoke, I thought it was going to be really intense. But actually, it's very, very delicate.
What do you think, really, the kohlrabi brings to the dish?
What I like about kohlrabi is it's really sweet. I think that goes well with the more acidic things like the pickled mustard seeds, the pickled radishes.
If you're not a fan of kohlrabi, then it's not going to overpower, it's not going to stand out too much.
Happy with the langoustine, the flavour?
Yeah.
I think it's light, it's fresh, it looks great, great theatre.
Texture. For me, the star is the langoustine, though.
What score would you give your dish?
I like an 8 or a 9, maybe.
Oh, you would?
I would, of course I would.
That's punchy.
Next up to the pass is Chris, who's putting the finishing touches to his tribute to British cycling, gold.
Now then, bud. All right. Well done. Cheers, mate. So it's quite intense in there. They,
Done, buddy. First one down.
Tom Aiken's eyes. They don't give anything away, but they go straight through you.
Chris deep fries his lamb sweetbreads and glazes your roll mushrooms with maple syrup.
How are you getting on, Chris?
The nerves are starting to pick back up again, but I should be OK.
First onto the plate is the slow-cooked egg yolk. Next, cubes of golden beetroot and the maple glazed chirol. Chris adds real gold leaf to his beetroot consommé, which he serves in a specially designed tureen. Finally, the crispy lamb sweetbreads.
So the name of the dish is simply Gold, to reflect the professional cyclists of Great Britain.
Let's go and try your dish.
Thank you.
It just looks like a really pretty plate of food. I think that's the only thing tying it to the brief as a trophy.
Do you think people at the banquet will understand your idea on this dish?
There's a possibility that the cycling theme could be missed, but the idea stemmed from sportsmen in general that have won golden medals.
The consommé, different technique to you, but it looks really clear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does look
Yeah,
clear.
I think he's got it clear. I think he'll be happy with it.
I think he's nailed that.
Sweetness okay for you?
I think golden beetroot's a sweet flavour. I like it, but with everything else, hopefully, it's not overpoweringly sweet.
Sweet, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if some of the maple, you put maple syrup on the
Maple
rolls.
syrup on the rolls.
Was it?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
The sweetbread?
If I'm being perfectly honest, I think they probably could have been just crispened a little bit longer.
I think the flavour of the sweetbread's good, but it's gone a bit soggy in the broth, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What score would you give your dish?
I'd like a 10, but I know it's not a 10. If I'm being honest, I think I'd probably give it a 7.
You see that going out at the banquet?
No, I can see man going out.
Last of the pass is Minnie. After failing to cook for the judges last year, he's hoping for higher scores this time. He assembles his toasties, white bread filled with rarebit and truffle.
Hey!
Guys, you all right, mate? You all right, buddy?
I'm surprised.
I'm still alive. I've made it out of there. And I think you might have enjoyed it. Minnie, what's the score? What are you doing?
I'm making my toasties.
Are you making sandwich lollipops?
Yeah. These little bad boys are supposed to put a smile on your face.
Minnie starts plating up his dish by lining a bowl with black truffle and pan-fried garlic porcini mushrooms.
How are the toasties, Minnie?
What do you think, Chef?
Next, it's on with the spheres of guinea fowl thigh and assorted vegetables.
How's your sphere?
They've set. It's just as important for them to melt.
Minnie garnishes the dish with micro tarragon and finishes with his aerated celeriac puree. The guinea fowl broth will be served separately.
There we go. Charity begins at home. This is really what it's all about. I've got a quote here from the Queen, but alongside it, some quotes from other charities.
Delicious? Let's hope so, yeah? Shall we go and try? OK, let's go.
What that's going to do is melt the sphere and it's going to turn it into a broth.
OK.
Yeah, let's have a sandwich.
It smells like
it
cheese
does.
on toast.
It does. You can smell truffle as well.
Crispy.
It's very tasty.
Happy with the flavour?
Yeah, I don't think I should have reduced it any further.
I mean, the flavour's there. I think what's maybe watered it down is the jelly on the sphere.
I almost wish there was more substance to it.
Yeah.
The vegetables, are they cooked correctly?
Yeah, I think so. They're not just there for the colour.
There's a bite to them.
Yeah,
you know,
they're fairly raw, aren't they? But I quite enjoy that. The carrots still got a sweetness.
The celeriac mousse, do you think that adds really anything to the dish?
I think the celeriac didn't come through as much as I was anticipated for it to do.
So a funny one to clarify the stock and make it perfectly clear, which he has done, and then pour it over a cream-based foam, because it looks like the wraps back on top of the consommé.
What score would you give your dish?
I thought it was going to be a 10 at the beginning of the day, but the celeriac's thrown me a bit. I'll give himself an 8.
Now then.
It's all right.
Done, mate.
Yeah, I actually thought he was quite kind. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think he was that tough.
I have a feeling that the meanness might be still to come.
can breathe, guys. How are you feeling?
Anxious.
Yeah, probably more nervous now.
So, Tommy, I'm going to start with your Earth's Drum Kilbo 2016. I liked the presentation and the theatre of the dish. The smokiness of the egg, I thought worked really well. The acidity that you brought into your dish through the pickled radishes and the mustard seeds was a really nice touch. As for the kohlrabi, it had a sweetness that I wasn't expecting. You actually converted me.
Oh.
So well done. But it lacked the finesse that I want on a really good dish. Chris, onto your gold. The slow-cooked egg yolk was perfectly cooked. The sweetbreads, you got the flavour right, but the crispness wasn't quite there. The consommé was as clear as it should have been. So well done.
Thank you.
But I think with the consommé, the agar that you used just didn't show enough skill. I'm a traditionalist at heart. Overall as well, the dish just needed to have a little bit more acidity to bring it all together. And the story behind the dish, I just didn't quite understand it.
Okay.
Minnie, charity begins at home. I loved the idea, and it really hit the brief. The sphere in the broth, a nice contemporary touch, a good idea. But the cheese and truffle toasty just didn't really have an impact on me at all. The vegetables inside the sphere were a little bit too crispy. Battle of the consommes, great flavour. But you go to all that effort to make the broth, and then you put celeriac puree over it, and it makes the consommé cloudy. So to the scores, guys. Chris, I'm going to give you a 6.
Okay.
Minnie, I'm giving you a score of 6. Tommy, I'm scoring you an 8. So, chefs, I want to see more skill and more excitement on that plate. And I want to see a 10.
Sure.
Thank you, Chef.
That's intense, isn't it?
Well done.
Absolutely delighted to get an 8 from Tom Aikens as well. He said everything was cooked great, so I was really pleased about that.
It's still all to play for, and like I say, you've only got to beat one person to get to Friday. I'm a little bit deflated that Tom didn't get the message that I was trying to convey, but there's 3 more courses to go to do my food justice.
The level of scrutiny is so high.
But an 8, first course, an 8's an epic
Yeah,
start. A really, really good start.
I'm happy for you. Gutted. I thought it was a really, really strong dish, but Tom didn't agree. I've got to pick myself back up again.